Hello and welcome. This is your host, Garima, and joining me on the dais today is Mr. Hitesh Mohan. He's the Vice President and co-owner of INTEK. Thank you so much for joining me today on the dais, sir. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me here.
So let's begin with your story. What has been the unique inspiration behind joining the oil and gas industry? What has been your why?
Well, the way I say is that oil and gas industry, I personally consider oil and gas industry as first responders. Okay,
Right.
nothing can happen in the world if we do not provide energy,
Absolutely.
and we will be there for a while. And my career has shifted from mining to petroleum over the years, and I really have enjoyed my career as a petroleum engineer and helping people, helping the community, and either whichever way you look at it.
Right.
So petroleum industry is not just for transportation fuels, but for everything else we have around us, whatever we use, different products.
Right.
Okay, and that's how we can build a sustainable future.
Absolutely, sir. And how did your journey with INTEK begin? What is the story of this organization?
Well, I was a young engineer working for consulting companies,
Mm-hmm.
some large consulting companies in US, and the bureaucracy was too much to handle. And me and then project manager of mine, we both quit and started INTEK in 1998.
Wow.
22 years, and we are still going. Most small companies do not survive more than 5 years in US.
Right.
All right. But we've been there 22 years, so we must be doing something good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we do a lot of work related to public policy, strategic planning,
Mm-hmm.
Engineering, feasibility studies.
Mm-hmm.
We do help some companies, private companies, small investors in terms of exploration.
Mm-hmm.
We have worked in Jordan, we have worked in Canada, we have worked US, we have expanding, we are right now, a lot of the work currently is related to energy logistics,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well to wheels. How do you get from oil from well to wheels?
Right.
Or as far as natural gas goes, well to your gas burner.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at everything in between. How can you protect it? How can you make it more reliable? How can you make it more sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have constant flow of energy, you reduce, inequalities. You build sustainable uh, communities, and basically everything progresses on its own.
Mm-hmm. Right. And sir, what kind of challenges have you perceived in the oil and gas value chain so far? If you could help us understand some of them.
Challenges has been always been there, obviously the price challenge is there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Demand supply challenge is always there. Who leads the market and who is in charge for it.
Right.
That has always been there because I don't deal directly with the molecules.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So at least I'm away from that part of the world to figure out what the molecules, but I look at what policies has to be there to increase the production,
Mm-hmm.
make it more energy efficient, and what policies to be there to sustain production.
Right. Right.
Or sustain the industry. All right. everybody says, oh, oil prices are down. But actually, when oil prices are down, my work goes up
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because more policies are coming into table to be discussed out and to be implemented that how to sustain the industry.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
we have to do a lot of engineering based work at our end.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, day to day changes in prices do not affect because we look at the long term future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do look at long term effects. Only thing when it affects to us on a short term basis is
Mm-hmm.
when there's a disaster.
Right.
How to look at the logistics because a hurricane in Houston area could create fuel shortages in New York City
Right.
because there's only few pipelines which go from one place to another place.
Right.
And everything can be affected. The network is connected. There's a domino effect of everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And if we talk about these policies and infrastructure that is there in place, do you see any gaps? And if yes, what kind of gaps do you perceive? And how can the industry or as an organization you are working towards them?
Well, there are lots of gaps. Uh, there's two sides to the coin. There's not
Right.
one side,
Right.
right? What one side of the lawmakers think and what the other side of the lawmakers think, they are both being fed by two different organizations what the information is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest gap I see over here is education.
Mm-hmm.
Educating them in about the industry so that we are not labeled as a dirty industry.
Right.
Petroleum industry actually, believe it or not, they do a job, very good job of doing things environmentally safe.
Right.
It's fuel, right? Everybody needs transportation fuels. We're not going to fly jets on solar. We're not going to fly jets on electricity.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, even if you do cars on all electric cars, but you still need fuel to produce the products to build the cars.
Mm-hmm.
But then, where are you going to get electricity to charge the batteries?
Right.
So it's fuel's not going to go away, but the lawmakers have to be educated to make sound policies
Mm-hmm.
to make the industry go in the right direction.
Right.
And that's the biggest challenge that we face right here in sitting in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I say there are 602 lawmakers, 500 in the House, 100 in the Senate, and 2 in the White House. They
Right.
all have to be educated one way or the other in a simplest form of language.
Right.
And yes, they are being lobbied by different companies, but as an independent consultant, our job is to make sure we give them right information so that they make right decisions.
Right.
Yeah. So it's education. And so that's why I'm using an SPE platform right
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
uh, to hold a couple of workshops over here where I can bring some of these people and understand them. What is this technology we are talking about in a layman's language?
Right. Right. And
We
so
did that.
why do you think it's important to simplify that dialogue for the people out there and also for the younger generation who is seeking a career in the industry? Because you are part of the SPE platform, you are a distinguished lecturer and on so many panels as well, right? You have been
Mhm.
talking about so many important issues. Where do you see the need for simplifying this conversation for people who are not a part of this industry?
I would say is engage young people.
Right.
To all young people, engage, engage, engage. Do not be do not be afraid to ask questions,
Mhm.
because every question may lead up to a new idea.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
And yes, educating, let's going back to the policy side, educating people outside is very important.
Right.
I can give you one example. A lot of the myth is over here.
Mm-hmm.
I sit down and with few friends, and they talk about the oil industry. They tell about, oh, we're getting all our oil from Saudi Arabia and blah 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 blah, and we are energy independent, we are oil independent. And I'm like, how is US oil independent?
Mm-hmm.
And the math doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what do you mean? I said, we consume about 19 plus million barrels of oil every day, and we produce only 11.
Right.
How are we oil independent? Oh, they say they say that we are energy independent. I said, okay, we produce 8 apples, we produce 20 oranges, hmm?
Mm-hmm.
But we export so many oranges out, and we import so many apples in. So on a net fruit basis, you have more fruits,
Right.
but you do not have equal amount of apples. What you need, you still have to import the apples.
Right.
And when I put that in their perspective, then they understand, oh, so it's also the when people, I would say, media, and it's not just the media, but media is getting information from other people. And when
Right.
the other people are talking, they're mixing apples and oranges. And they add up all together energy into a BTU basis and say, oh, we are energy independent.
Right.
But you have to think, everybody has to think from a one perspective. No, what are we talking about? Energy as a whole, or oil, or gas, or electricity, or what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So I would suggest to all young people, engage yourself in SPE. SPE is a good platform.
Right, sir.
I've been there for 25 plus years now, 20, almost 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you look at the role of networking, sir, in this aspect? Because we say that oil and gas industry is a people's business. A lot of things have been done with shaking hands and getting to know each other. It's more about whom do you know rather than what do you know at times. So people who are the younger generation who is trying to understand more about the industry, seeking a career, how should they go about it, especially during this time when we are experiencing a totally different phenomenon?
Well, it's a total different phenomenon. I do agree. But networking will never stop. There on SPE platforms, there are mentorship programs. Sign up for being a volunteer, sign up to be ask for a mentor. The mentor could be anywhere from the world.
Right.
All right, sign up over there, be an SPE member, active member. The more the active you are, the more in people you're going to get in touch, and the more you're going to get exposure to different things.
Right.
And there are SPE other places on the SPE website. There are blogs over there to ask questions.
Right.
There are question answers. People will answer questions if you have any questions on it. Okay. Sometimes, like you might ask, hey, I want to do XYZ research.
Mm-hmm.
Who can help me in this thing? Okay. One thing everybody has to remember, that education cannot be taken away.
True. True, sir.
And so keep that in mind. So uh, I I did not know by doing whatever I did that I had already had so much exposure to a lot of people in SPE. Last conference I was there and like 25 people, hey, what you doing? What I'm like, I, I haven't seen these people in so many years.
Right, right.
so, so
Yes. And now, sir, if we talk about the current crisis that we have before us, going by your experience, considering your time in the industry, how are you looking at this crisis and its impact? And how do you see it being different from the previous downturns that the industry has experienced? And what kind of opportunities do you see?
as a resiliency person,
Hmm.
as an emergency management person, the current environment has made me also think what plans I need to change
Right,
to make things better for the next time. We do help company, we do provide, our own workshop, resiliency workshops, so that the companies can build their own resiliency plans
mm-hmm.
against disasters. And
Right.
I call this a disaster.
Yes.
Okay, this is a natural disaster, another kind of a natural disaster. All right.
Right.
uh, Things which has changed in this thing is companies have come to realize people first policy.
Right.
Without people, nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Secondly, is the mentality of the companies is changing a lot. Uh, in some cases, the productivity of the people have gone up. On the brighter side, this has also led to a lot of digital transformation. Why do I need stacks and stacks of papers in the office when I can do everything digitally and scanned up?
Right.
And that's what I'm doing in my office too.
Right.
I have 25 book racks of all these books, and I am just going through that and I'm saying, I do not need 90% of that. I'm only going to keep some of my legacy stuff in a library.
Right.
Rest all is getting scanned or shredded and gone.
Right, sir. And
And companies will do the same thing.
yes. Yes.
So the digital transformation stage, the company is going completely virtual. Companies trying to work thing. Uh, it has actually increased the productivity of the people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And give you an example in cities like Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, New York, Washington D.C., all these larger cities, we don't have to sit 2.5 hours in traffic mess.
Right.
Same thing in Delhi, Bangalore,
Right.
uh, right?
Right.
You
Right.
could do this, you could do the same work sitting at one place
Right.
and not sit 2.5 hours in traffic in Bangalore.
Absolutely.
I know what traffic was in Bangalore because I was there for a day and a half.
It's crazy.
We literally had to go 7 kilometers, and that was like the guy said, "Oh, he's." I'm like, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to go through this literally dirt road to bypass a highway which was completely jammed."
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And what do you feel would go beyond this crisis? What are some of the things we should focus upon and not be dejected or demotivated by the current environment? What is here to stay, and what are some of the lessons that we can, take from this situation?
Be vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let this take over you.
Right.
Okay. Protect you, protect others. Small things you can do,
Right.
and this will be over.
Right.
In the start of this pandemic, when it was starting in early February, I traveled through Myanmar, Dubai, Bahrain,
Mm-hmm.
India, 6 cities in India, and back.
Mm-hmm.
I went through an airport almost every day, international airport every day. So I know how I protected myself to be not affected by this.
Right.
Simple things can happen. Takeaway going forward is that it's like this is a time for young people to start, thinking, like build your network, get your knowledge skills up,
Right.
get your knowledge skills up. There are lots of learning platforms online. Get your knowledge skills up. Look on the brighter side of it, coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a demand for a different kind of skill set.
Right.
And you all have to, we are changing. I tell you, like till 4 days ago, I never used a Mac.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of my employees, she decided to leave, and all her programs are sitting on a Mac. And I have the Mac, and I'm like, I'm trying to use a Mac. I'm like, what is this? So it's a learning skill for everybody now, huh?
Yes.
And it's everybody. It's people are changing, and think about all of what good things are going to happen.
Right. Right.
Okay, people are more closer to. They know who their friends are. They know who their family is. Who
Right.
they're close to it right now. And let's not get depressed. You know, there's there's always the brighter side which is yet to come.
Absolutely, sir.
And you know what? We will all come out of it together. We are all in it together.
Right. Right, sir.
And do you think that I don't want to travel right now? If I could, I would travel everywhere.
Right.
I don't sit in one place. You're lucky to catch me on a Saturday morning.
Yes. Yes. I can totally feel that, going by your story. And sir, on this note, how are you looking back at your journey? And if I had to ask you, what are some of the milestones you're looking forward to, and what is there for you in the times to come, and for your organization, INTEK?
Well, I'm looking forward as to one of these days to pass on the organization to some youngsters,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
let them run, and I just be their advisor
Right.
going forward.
Right.
Okay. And I just want to be the advisor going forward and nothing else, nothing more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's been, I don't know, it's what is going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But uh, we have done, we will continue to do our work to serve the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no set milestone. They'll happen as its own, as it goes. And one of these days uh, we will survive. We'll go through this. And I don't have any milestones at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, uh, I could have done a lot more better, but I'm content with what I've done.
Right. Right. That's
This is
great.
my mantra in this. If I don't like it, I
Yes.
leave. I tell my kids, my sons, and I'm going to tell the young people out there too. The day you complain about your company is the day you want to leave.
Right.
you cannot complain and be a productive employee.
Very true.
Huh?
Very true, sir.
And plus also, uh, it's work, you know. Uh, do your work efficiently, the rewards will come.
Right, sir. Right.
So,
And thank you so much for sharing your story today with me, sir, and also helping us understand what really matters in the big picture, and how we should look at this crisis, and how we should not be demotivated in any way, and how we should really look forward to all that we can do with this time and opportunity that we have before us.
yeah, there are lots of innovations going to happen over
Yes.
this time.
Yes.
You know, uh, young people, think about it. What more innovative things can you do?
Right.
There are lots of things can happen.
Right.
I don't know who will be the next innovator of the world. Could be somebody sitting in the back office in Dehradun or someplace.
Right. Right.
You, so it's think about it, this as a positive situation and always be ready to take a risk. If you don't take risks, no rewards.
Absolutely.
And to all young people, just engage yourself. Do not be feeling shy.
Right. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
powerful and the inspiring message, sir. And anything on the final note that you would like to convey to the oil and gas global community?
Well, the oil and gas global community, I would say, is that we are we are strong.
Mm-hmm.
We will There will be a need for us today, tomorrow, and in future.
Right.
The little fluctuations of oil and prices, just let's not that, and this pandemic, let's not that this pandemic and fluctuation of oil prices make us demoralized. No, let's innovate. Let's build a sustainable future for everybody.